the beautiful part about this team is what I just mentioned. It's a team. There's so much credit to go around. Let's start with Brian Cashman. Trades that he made this year at the trading deadline, bringing in Tommy Kahnle and David Robertson, major contributors to the bullpen. There's no way the Yankees would be at this point without them. Todd Frazier was also in that trade with the White Sox. And he's been very solid with the glove, and there's also an intangible with him, with his locker room presence, and he's done something to galvanize the team even further. Then consider giving kudos to the international scouts for the New York Yankees. How about signing the likes of Luis Severino, Masahiro Tanaka, Gary Sanchez? And I'd like to mention someone that I very rarely hear mentioned and getting any credit. That's Damon Oppenheimer. He's the vice president and director of amateur scouting for the New York Yankees. And in my opinion, he deserves an enormous amount of credit. Consider this, ladies and gentlemen. I mentioned Tommy Kahnle previously and David Robertson. And we tipped the cap to Brian Cashman for making that trade that brought them to the Yankees. But specifically, they were brought back to the Yankees. They were both drafted by the Yankees. Kahnle was drafted by the Yankees in 2010 in the 5th round. David Robertson in the 17th round in 2006. How about Dellin Betances, 2006, 8th round. Adam Warren, 2009, 4th round. How about Jordan Montgomery? You like what he did this year? 9-7 with a 3.96 as a rookie, left-hander with all the talent in the world. 4th round pick, 2014. How about the position players? Greg Bird, 5th round, 2011. Brett Gardner, 3rd round, 2005. And we all know Aaron Judge, 1st round, 2013. Just think about the names that I just mentioned, ladies and gentlemen. Kahnle and Robertson and Betances and Warren and Montgomery and Bird and Gardner and Judge. These are contributors on the major league level. These were all drafted by Damon Oppenheimer. So, I mean, I find it to be, amazing, and I think it's, it's important to give credit to him also. And we'd like to welcome in and he just got a promotion, as a matter of fact. He's the director of Dominican Republic operations for the New York Yankees, Mario Garza. Mario, thank you for calling in tonight.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Mario, you've coached many of these players, and as when they were, in their infancy, so to speak. And when we talk about the Dominican Republic tie-in, and you're the director of that, and you heard me, mention giving kudos to the international scouts. When you stop and think about Severino and Gary Sanchez, where would the 2017 Yankees be without them? How proud are you?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, that was a great intro, and you covered a lot of really important fact and important pieces to what's going on right now. But yes, Gary Sanchez, Luis Severino, 2 huge parts. We're very proud that they came, through our academy in Latin America, and to our international scouting director Donnie Rowland does a tremendous job down there, and we've got more coming.
It's amazing when you watch on TV, Mario. Do you marvel even yourself? I mean, you worked with Gary Sanchez, so you knew he was a mega talent coming along. But do you marvel at the fact that everything has come together as quickly as it has? And it seems to us as fans that their composure and the way that they act like the moment is not too big for them is quite impressive.
Exactly. The word composure, I think, is a great description of how I watch those guys. I mean, Greg Bird and Sanchez and the younger group, and of course Judge. I mean, that it's incredible watching these guys. Like you said, no moment is too big. I was really proud of Luis Severino for bouncing back like you mentioned, and pitching as well as he did in his second playoff outing. I mean, it's really impressive seeing these young players embracing the moment, not letting the game get too fast, staying within themselves and performing.
And also, Mario, when I was kind of painting a picture with my opening monologue, if you will, the thing that strikes me is a sense of redemption with a lot of these players. And it's not only the players, it's also the manager, Joe Girardi. We saw that he made an egregious error when he didn't challenge a particular play where it would have hit by a pitch where it was a key element to game two, where we let an 8-3 lead get away. And he did a mea culpa the next day, and he said, it's on me, and there's nothing I could do about it. I just hope the players pick me up, and the players certainly picked him up.
Absolutely. You don't often hear, a situation where the team has to pick up the manager, but that's exactly what happened. And I thought it speaks volumes to the chemistry they have going on there in that clubhouse.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Joe Girardi is a class act. I think that for him to do that, you don't hear it that often, where a manager so specifically and completely admits that he made an error. I mean, too many times you just hear double talk after a game, and they're very defensive. But I think it actually played to his advantage, because I think it was a rallying cry.
Yes, I agree 100%.
And Mario, when you watched this team, what are your thoughts? They play the Houston Astros next. What do you see in terms of their limitations, if any?
If they go out and play like they have been the last few days, and I mean, if everyone just does their job and keeps performing the way they're doing, I mean, I can't count them out. I know the Astros have a very strong lineup, a really strong lineup, and to go along with good pitching. I mean, they have a great team. That's why they're there. That's why they're in the position they're in. But I got to think we have a really good chance if we go out there and perform and just execute.
Mario, speaking of the Houston Astros, you played minor league baseball for the Houston Astros a few years back now. Your career was derailed by injuries, unfortunately. You were a catcher, and you tore up not one but both of your knees. But you batted cleanup in a batting order that included Hunter Pence and Ben Zobrist. I mean, so for our fans out there, I mean, just to paint the picture that Mario knows a thing or two about offense. When you see the type of pitching in postseason, and you see, let's say, an Aaron Judge right now, he's struggling. But the exciting thing is that I don't see any of them hanging their heads, specifically Aaron Judge. I don't see him acting like he's overmatched. I mean, I really think that there's a certain intangible and there's a certain level of confidence that they have, which is invaluable and possibly really can't be taught.
I agree, and Aaron has that. I mean, he's a incredible makeup that he has, and he's got the no panic. I call it the no panic gene, where just because he's struggling or just because something's bad calls or what have you. I mean, he's not going to change his approach. He's an extremely mature player for his age. And then Greg Bird's the same way. And I really think those guys, those guys have a really, really good way of keeping the game in front of them. And I was really hoping Aaron would square something up in that last at bat just to kind of get things going into the next series. But I think it's only going to take one at bat. Something's going to click. He's going to feel. He's going to, ball's going to jump off the bat. He's going to get going. And I just, obviously, for all of us Yankee fans, we hope that it's going to happen sooner rather than later in the series.
The great thing about it, Mario, is that even in a series where he struck out whatever it was, 16 times out of 20 or whatever it is, he had one hit. It was a big hit, knocked in 2 runs, contributed towards the win when the night that Severino was on the mound. And then how about his comments after Game 3 where he doesn't do anything offensively, but he goes up and he steals a 2-run homer from Lindor where it was a game changer. I mean, literally, if he doesn't make that catch, go over the wall and make that catch and steal a 2-run homer, we could have literally been swept in 3 games.
Yeah, wasn't that great? I mean, just the play was great, but then obviously his comments afterward. That's just the kind of person he is. He's as advertised. It's not a, I've had the chance to be around him. Some, not as much as some other guys in the organization, but during instructional leagues and spring trainings, and that's who he is. I mean, he's the real deal. He's not putting on a show. He cares when he puts the team over himself. That's the kind of person he is.
The thing that I love most about him, or one of the things I guess I should say, is when he hits a tape measure home run, no matter how far he hits it, he puts the bat down and runs hard to first base. I mean, that's the way the game should be played, so we shouldn't be lauding him for something that everybody should do. But I just love it, Mario, that he never styles, he never stares at the ball. I mean, he's just almost too good to be true in that regard.
Absolutely. I read somewhere that he said one time he kind of watched a ball that he hit that didn't go out, and he said that embarrassment still haunts him. So I thought that was really cool, and I think that was years back before he was even a pro. So for him to just be that humble and to do that every day, like you said, it's really impressive. It's special.
Mario, I wrote a column back in March during spring training when in a 3-game stretch, I noticed that the Yankees hit 7 home runs, all by right-handed batters, and every single ball was hit to right field. And I wrote a column because I have a website, and I said, I'm wondering why no one else is noticing this or writing about it. I'm looking in the New York Times, the Daily News, the New York Post. I said, I know this is only spring training, but I guarantee you this has never happened before. The Bronx Bombers, that are usually left-handed dead pull hitters,
right.
7 home runs hit by righties. And what I noticed back then was that Matt Holliday was the one, in my opinion, that was mentoring Aaron Judge. And what I believe he told him early in the season, Mario, and because it's almost like a distant memory now. The home runs, the 52 home runs, we all remember. But at the All-Star break, Mario, he was hitting .329. Okay? Now, in my opinion, what he was doing that went unnoticed by, analysts or whatever, was that he was looking for fastballs. Obviously, you look for the fastball and then you react to the off speed. But no matter where the pitch was thrown, even if it was an inside pitch, Mario, he was looking to take the ball up the middle or oppo. Even if it was inside, he'd pull his hands in almost like Jeter, and he would drive the ball up the middle or to the opposite field. The only time that he was pulling a ball early in the season when it was an off-speed pitch. In fact, I wrote a column, and anyone out there wants to fact check me, he did not hit a home run dead pull to left field until August, strike that. It might have been late July. I'd have to go back and look at when it was. It might have been like July 27th or something like that. It was his 33rd home run because I remember writing about it. It was the first home run that he pulled dead to left field off of a fastball. And I think it's something that's a little bit unnoticed, and it's something that he's gotten away from now. So I think that's part of the reason why he's struggling, because he's trying to pull fastballs, and that's why he's very susceptible to that off-speed pitch on the outside corner. But, I see sometimes he goes back to that formula, especially at Yankee Stadium. But I think it's, maybe an observation worth, talking about.
I think so, too. Those are indeed really, really beautiful swings when he does use the field. And yes, I remember vividly a lot of those homers to right field and center. And, I mean, he's fun to watch hit. He's special. And that's a nice pickup that you had there, Mike. I know you find some good ones. I know talking about Severino's changeup, I believe it was last year, and and this is another pretty interesting pickup that you have.
Thank you, Mario. I appreciate that. I want to circle back and I want to ask you, um, Director of Dominican Republic Operations, we know how when you just look around the league, it's not only the Yankees, the amount of great ball players that come from the Dominican Republic. Mario, you just tell our viewers out there now about the promotion that you have, with the position that you have with the New York Yankees, and are you excited about the position, and what does the future bring?
Yeah, I'm very excited. It's a different, I mean, literally a different world down there. But it's been a great experience so far. This is my third year down there. First as director, but the previous couple years I served as assistant, and it's been a wonderful experience seeing what these Latin American players come from, and they're not all Latin American players. We've also had some from Europe, and basically anybody from internationally outside the U.S. with the exception of typically, obviously, Canada and Japan and Cuba, because a lot of times the Japanese players and Cuban players will already have been professionals or they're a little older, so they'll go to the United States. All other international players will start their professional career in the Dominican Republic. All 30 clubs have an academy in the Dominican Republic, and basically my responsibilities and my job is to make sure that our players that our international scouts sign and bring into our academy, that they're receiving everything that they need to give them the best chance to further their career and advance their career to the United States. So a lot of people don't realize that these guys get started. They're able to sign at 16 years old internationally. And by the time they get to rookie ball, a lot of times they're 17, 18, and they've already had a year or two under their belt as a professional, where a lot of obviously our American kids are still in high school or college. But essentially my role is to make sure that they're getting everything they need on the field. In the classroom, we do English classes, nutritionally, in the weight room, and I'm making sure, holding our coaches accountable, that everything we're teaching to our players in the United States is also being taught the exact same way to our players in the Dominican Republic.
Well, they're in good hands with you, Mario, and I just want to say in closing that I did notice that Gary Denbo was I don't know what word we want to use, stolen away by Derek Jeter with the
Right.
let's be honest, with the Miami Marlins, and he was a key piece. He was the VP of player development for the New York Yankees. You always spoke very highly of him, and we all know that he was very, very talented. But to put it into perspective, that it is a loss. And one thing that I was mentioning too, I hate to say it, maybe I shouldn't have given so much kudos to Damon Oppenheimer, because I don't want somebody out there. We don't want them stealing that guy away. Also, but
Right.
the
That's
nice
true.
thing about the Yankee organization is, with individuals like yourself, there it, there is a lot of talent not only on the field but also within the organization. When one person leaves, it leaves an opportunity for another. And you're a young guy with a very, very bright future. And really, the New York Yankees, I know that they pride themselves on having depth, having a deep bench, again, not only on the field, but also from an organizational standpoint. So we want to tell you and thank you for calling in tonight, and continued success with the role that you're playing.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that.